All right, 1500 from Spain. Let's try not to go crazy and also pay very close attention to what lessons might come out of this game. Moving both his E and D pawn. I'm a fan of capturing with a flank pawn. A flank pawn is a pawn that is not in the center. This is kind of a weird move. He's moved his knight twice. Should I try to hold this? I'm not even sure this is a thing. Develop my pieces. This is weird. Continue to develop your pieces. I'm going to harass him. Light check. 3 ways to get out of check: run, block, and capture. Run, block, and capture are the 3 ways to get out of check. My intent is to castle if he does not attack my bishop in any kind of way. That is my intent. Let's see what he does. Okay, he chose to block with the bishop. I just simply castle because if he captures my bishop, I'll recapture the bishop and have a ready-made attack on his bishop in the center of the board. Okay, he didn't capture. So that's a light check. I'm going to go ahead and charge in the center, even though it does open up a lane of attack on my king. My idea is to, okay, he didn't do it, so that's a pawn. That's a knight. Attack the bishop. Bishop cannot retreat, guys. Okay. Okay, this one is gonna protect this pawn. Need to maybe push here. En passant is okay, I think. Takes, pawn takes. Gotta take this one. Or is he taking this one? All right, so I get to keep my pawn center. I'm a fan. I am a fan of the big pawn center. I'm gonna tickle the rook. Light tickle. And then I'm gonna address this pawn very sincerely. Dear pawn, I've heard about your recent troubles. Just blockade the pawn. Maybe we put the rook on the b file. Okay, he rook captures and then slide the other rook over and the king rapidly joins the fight. All right, we'll go with our kings. I have this theory that when your opponent is moving their king, you should be moving your king. All right, so this move didn't do anything. It prevented his king from joining. So now, very fast, I'm going to go ahead and put my rook on the 7th to keep him from coming down here and attacking. And this allows me to double up as well. All right, so this is a free move because he can't capture. His rook is hanging. Also known as a pin. The pawn is pinned. Put pressure on the pinned piece. That's something that we like to do. And we might just simply take this pawn. I have no idea. Okay, he resigns. And that's how you do it. So let's review this game really quickly in summary. Started off kind of weird. E4, natural move. Nothing wrong with that. C5, Sicilian. I'm attacking the center from the flank. He plays knight c3, knight c6. Now, he is attacking the center just a little weirdly. You would expect something like f4, but instead he plays d4, which gives us a pawn for nothing. Free pawn, because the queen is not capturing, right? So now his knight is under attack. He has to move the knight twice. The knight retreats, blocking his bishop in. So the king safety question is being put to the test. Strange position for me. I confess I probably have never been in this position before. Up a pawn on move 4. So it just felt natural to just defend the pawn. I'm not sure if this is some kind of trap or something. He rotates the knight out. So that's 3 moves with the knight. I just naturally returned to getting my pieces safe. I mean, my king safe. He blockades the pawn with his bishop, also creating what I like to call a big pawn. This bishop. I hit him with a light spike check, not really intending to do anything other than get the bishop out of the way so that I could get my king safe. He blocks the check with his bishop. There's 3 ways to get out of check: run, block, and capture. He chose to block. I simply castle because I believe king safety is the most important priority. He attacks my bishop, putting the question, what are you going to do? I simply take his bishop. I mean, his pieces are looking funny. Let's make another one look funny. Now, is he castling queenside? There could be some argument for that. Now I charge in the center because we have the time. His king can't get safe to the king side. If he castles queenside, I'm going to be challenging right away. He just calmly develops, which was awkward. I capture. He recaptures, and now we're going to try to put a pawn fork in play by hoping that he would retreat. We know he's not going to retreat, and he can't come here, so the only move is for him to capture with his last developed piece. And now we're interested in getting in here, but we don't want to lose our dominant d4 pawn. So we bring our queen into action right in the center of the board. He challenges the queen. Now here, I guess I could have just retreated, but I just don't like going backwards. So I just said, you know, whatever. You know, the protection and the defense of this d4 pawn was awkward anyway. Maybe this is not the right move, but it just felt like it was an easy move to make. So yes, now I have 2 pawns under attack, but arguably, you know, he's got to make a decision. You either take the flank pawn or take the center pawn. Whichever one you choose, I'm going to grab the other one. So he chooses to take the one that's a little bit more dangerous. That gives me the opportunity to shore up my center with tempo. He retreats the knight to an awkward square. Note that the knight can't really go anywhere promising. It's got that weird square, but the knight is effectively neutralized. I develop my bishop with tempo. I don't even know what this rook move does. I can't explain it. Here I challenge the pawn, but what I could have done is put the rook on the open file and brought the other rook over. Might have been more interesting. He defends his pawn. We blockade the pawn. Capture, capture. King moves, and we've talked about this. When their king is moving, I believe your king should be moving. This move I didn't agree with because it blocks the path of this king, allowing me to gain an extra move towards the center. Now he swings over to the open files. And guys, if you don't know, rooks belong on open files. And once they get on the open file, it's the 2nd and the 7th, 2 and 7. So he's on 2. He's threatening to go to 7. I take 7 away from him. He plays g3. And now I double my pawns, putting pressure on the isolated c pawn. He defends that. And now I put pressure on the pawn again, attacking that pawn 3 times, putting pressure on the pin piece, guys. He cannot capture because his rook would be hanging, and I'm just going to totally neutralize everything in all pieces, and this is why he resigned. So GG's. Hopefully there was something in there that you can find of value. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.